And doing that, I just felt like it was disrespectful to me, to my relationship. It just was, period, the end. But I think I've endured so much disrespect, and I still do to this day.
Hailey Bieber has finally broken the silence on what could be the biggest career sabotage in celebrity modeling right now. We're talking about a Vogue cover that should have been the highlight of her career, turned into a public embarrassment by her own husband, Justin Bieber. Not a rumor, his words. The same man she stood by through breakdowns, drama, and headlines allegedly used her biggest moment to remind her she'd never get there. And this isn't some isolated slip. It's part of a disturbing pattern. Public snubs, humiliating comments, and emotional undercuts that fans say are chipping away at her career, her confidence, and maybe even her marriage. From old red carpet fights to viral videos that left fans gasping, the receipts are stacking up. So the question now isn't whether Justin supports Hailey, it's whether he's been holding her back on purpose. Hailey's solo Vogue cover should have been the moment that ended the debate about her modeling credibility. Years of castings, rejections, and fighting out of the +1 shadow led to a headline shoot every model dreams of. The internet expected celebration. Instead, it got turbulence. On the day that should have been all about her, Justin's post reframed the milestone around an old argument, reminding the world that, once upon a time, he doubted she'd ever land a Vogue cover. He tried to soften it later, but by then the damage was done. The comments filled with fans calling the timing tone-deaf and the message undermining. Why did it sting so much? Because it confirmed a fear many already had, that Hailey's biggest wins risk becoming shared battlegrounds instead of solo victories. In an industry where legitimacy is fragile and narratives stick, the optics were brutal. A husband inserting himself into a moment that demanded clean, uncomplicated support. No caveats, no callbacks, just pride. It also set the tone for everything that followed. What should have been a clean runway into campaign season turned into a discourse about respect, partnership, and how public missteps can kneecap private momentum. For Hailey, it wasn't only about a caption, it was about space. Space to own a career milestone without an asterisk, and space to be seen as a model first, not a spouse navigating fallout. That day didn't just crown a cover, it exposed a pattern the audience wouldn't forget. One moment can be a mistake. A string of moments starts to look like a pattern. After the Vogue caption fiasco, fans didn't have to scroll far to find other clips and posts that felt the same. A red carpet beat where a kiss gets brushed off, a live stream snippet where a tense "don't touch me right now" lands harder because cameras are rolling. The meme of a bundled-up kid flipping the middle finger, captioned, "POV, me behind my girlfriend after she makes me mad." On their own, each instance is small. Together, they read like death by 1,000 cuts. What stings isn't just the content, it's the timing and framing. Big days turn into inside jokes. Private spats become public punchlines. Even when he edits a caption or apologizes, screenshots outpace cleanup and the narrative cements. Hailey's milestone becomes a couple's moment, with the emphasis on the wrong half of the couple. Then comes the comparison effect. Fans resurface old posts where Justin hyped Friends covers with clean, uncomplicated, "Congrats, you look beautiful" energy. Beside Hailey's wins, the tone often feels cooler, self-referential, or oddly confessional, like her success is a mirror for his mood rather than a spotlight for her craft. Fair or not, perception is momentum in fashion, and momentum is currency. Net result? Hailey's career moments seldom stand on their own legs. They wobble under edits, jokes, and viral micro clips that reframe her day around his feelings. That's how a one-off morphs into reputation architecture. Subtle, cumulative signals that tell partners, brands, and editors whether a model's spotlight will stay steady or get yanked sideways the minute it turns on. What the timeline doesn't show is the private fallout that follows the public stumbles. Insiders describe arguments that spiral from tiny triggers into hours-long postmortems. Who said what? Who posted first? Who turned a win into a headline? When tempers flare, the sharpest cuts land where Hailey is most vulnerable, her career. Lines like, "It's not that serious," or "You're not even into runway like that," hit harder than they sound, because they question the work she's been building brick by brick. The apology cycle comes fast. Flowers, texts, emojis, but momentum doesn't return as quickly as messages send. There's also the logistics stress nobody sees. Rescheduling fittings because a comment thread exploded. Dodging paparazzi on the way to a campaign call time, deciding whether a joint appearance will steady the narrative or set it off again. Each choice has collateral, brand comfort, editor patience, team morale. Meanwhile, Hailey pushes forward. Quieter castings, cleaner rollouts, less oxygen for drama. But even strategic silence has a cost. It can look like lack of heat in an industry powered by buzz. That's the loop. Win attention, manage attention, lose attention, chase attention. And every time a personal flare-up yanks the spotlight, it reinforces the whisper that won't die. Is she building a brand or putting out fires? When a celebrity's off day leaks onto the timeline, it doesn't stay a day. It becomes a season. A jittery live stream here, a bathroom selfie there, a caption about loyalty that reads like a diary entry, and suddenly the algorithm declares a state of emergency. Within minutes, reaction channels are clipping, headlines are templating, and stitches are assigning motives. By the time morning hits, there's already a plot. Relapse, rift, or redemption, pick your poison. What audiences don't see is the logistics triage that follows. A brand quietly asks to move Tuesday, a rollout gets paused because the discourse turned, a stylist nudges a fitting by 48 hours to dodge paparazzi. Hailey's response is disciplined minimalism. No sub-tweets, no performative PDA, no impulse interviews. She counter-programs with routine. Gym, fittings, shoot, home. Because every extra word can be screenshot into proof. But perception keeps a tally. A studio selfie without a release date becomes lost focus. A family day turns into damage control. Even a faith verse splits the room, grounding to some, manic to others. And fashion runs on clean optics. Residue from each flare-up sticks to the calendar, confirmed becomes tentative, green light becomes circle back next quarter. The trap is brutal. The more Hailey stabilizes, the easier it is to paint her as hiding. The more she ignores, the louder the noise grows. Say nothing, and the vacuum writes its own narrative. Say anything, and it becomes the headline. Meanwhile, momentum leaks in small, invisible ways. A cooled email thread, a half-interested editor, a campaign that goes a different direction. So cleanup becomes a craft. Fewer joint appearances, tighter captions, stage silence between posts, and a hard line around workdays. No comment, no detours. It's not glamorous, but it's survival. Because in a business where every frame is forever, the only way through a public spiral is to make it boringly predictable, until the internet gets bored first. At this point, the debate isn't whether Justin's behavior has impacted Hailey's career. It's about how deep the impact goes. The evidence is layered. A Vogue cover turned into a self-referential confession, red carpet snubs that live forever in GIF form, live stream moments where affection turns awkward, and a meme arsenal that undercuts instead of uplifts. To the casual viewer, it's a string of random missteps. To fans who've watched for years, it's a pattern, one that feels deliberate, even if the truth is more complicated. Justin has publicly admitted to grappling with insecurity, feeling undeserving, and defaulting to tearing others down when he's at his lowest. It paints a picture of someone who might be acting from a place of self-doubt rather than outright malice. But here's the reality. Intent doesn't erase impact. In an industry as perception-driven as fashion, the optics matter more than the backstory. Each overshadowed milestone, each awkward headline, eats into the momentum Hailey works to build. Hailey's pivot toward her skincare brand, Rhode, shows she's thinking long-term, creating a lane where she controls the story and the spotlight. It's a smart play, but it also quietly limits the public-facing fashion moments that could be disrupted. The fewer the Vogue covers and runway debuts, the fewer chances for another PR storm to blow in from home. The irony is stark. Hailey's resilience and careful recalibration might be the only reasons her career and marriage remain standing. But resilience has a cost. Every time she redirects energy from growth to recovery, she trades forward motion for stability. Whether this is a love story under strain or the slow erosion of a modeling career will depend entirely on what comes next. And whether the next big win is hers alone, without a shadow falling over it. At the end of all the noise, this comes down to choices. What to post, what to ignore, what to protect. Hailey can't fix every headline, and Justin can't outsing a pattern. But they can build boring routines that beat chaos. If there's a comeback, it starts off camera. Doctors, boundaries, accountability, and work that speaks louder than captions. Until then, the question stands. Is this love under pressure, or a career slowly bled by 1,000 cuts? Tell me your take below.